It's probably not as cold as I'm making it look here, but we did not want to miss our walk today. So it's currently about 25 degrees at almost 10 o'clock a.m. here in Little Washington, North Carolina, and we're going to go out on our daily walk. Well, hello, it's Trawler here. I just wanted to really thank all of you for the tremendous response that we had to our first video where Tanya and I announced that we're going to be through hiking the Appalachian Trail and later this year, 2024. We were totally blown away by the response that we got, and I'm just hoping and praying that we can do a good job of keeping you informed about our travels and that we can keep it entertaining, informational, and educational. If you haven't done so, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you aboard for this journey. And also take the time to leave us a comment, ask us a question. We take the time to read every comment. Love to hear your input. Would love to try to answer any questions that you might have. So let's keep this thing interactive. And now for a disclaimer, we are not experts at all. Matter of fact, we are pretty much newbies when it comes to hiking. As you may recall, I did attempt a through hike in 2022. And made it about 500 miles. But we have also learned a few things along the way, and the purpose is to share that. We found some things that definitely work for us. They may or may not work for you, but things that you might want to give a try, and let us know how it works out for you. Also, we're not sponsored by anyone. We get $0 from any of the recommendations that we make. So we're making these recommendations because it is things that have worked for us, and hopefully they will benefit you. With that said, to be fair to our audience, I must tell you a couple of things that this video is not. First off, it is not a video about whether wearing socks with Crocs is a fashion faux pas or not. I do have an opinion on that, but fashion is really not something that comes into play with most people when hiking the Appalachian Trail. And second, this is not a video about whether or not choosing to wear Crocs as your hiking shoes on the Appalachian Trail is something you want to consider or not, even though I did meet one such fella on my attempted through hike in 2022 who had through hiked the entire Appalachian Trail a decade earlier, and the last 1,000 miles or so he walked in Crocs. And when I met him in Gatlinburg, he was attempting a repeat through hike and was trying to do it totally in Crocs. I think his name was Tickle Monster, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway, that's not something I would recommend, but hey, this guy was hiking his own hike, and I respect that. The first thing I wanted to talk about is camp shoes. First off, I highly recommend that you come up with some type of really lightweight and comfortable camp shoe to wear after a long day on the trail. And we saw people wearing a variety of things, flip-flops, slides, Crocs, so before I began my through hike attempt, I made a statement, and I firmly believe that I would never ever wear or own or wear a pair of Crocs. I just consider them to be like the ugliest shoe on the planet, and I decided that I would give something else a try. It had to be better than wearing Crocs. So I started out with slides, And by the time I got to Franklin, North Carolina, at about a mile 110, I realized that I'd made a terrible mistake, and I had to eat my words. I was pretty much sliding in my slides over rocks and down hills, and just to say the least, I was miserable. So at Franklin, I bought a pair of Crocs, found them to be probably the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, and I'm currently on my third pair. So I would recommend giving Crocs a try. The next thing is socks, and socks are an extremely important piece of your clothing, and it's really important that you take some time and maybe do a little research and find out what works for you. I read several books prior to setting out on my hike, and one that I read that I'm extremely glad that I did was the book was Through Hiking the Appalachian Trail: 100 Tips, Tricks, Traps, and Facts by Jan Seymour, trail name Chica, and her husband Greg Seymour, trail name Sunsets. It was from Chica that I got the idea of wearing Injinji toe socks with merino wool socks on top, and I went with her recommendation with the Darn Tough socks. Tinker and I wore them the entire time we were on the trail, and I walked 500 miles. He went on to walk 900 miles, and neither one of us got a single blister. We did meet a lot of hikers that were having trouble with blisters, and even a couple of people that were losing toenails, and we didn't experience any of that. Now, I'm not suggesting that that was the total reason, but it's definitely something that I think contributed to our success. Now, Chica also recommended another book titled Fixing Your Feet, John Vonhoff, and I have started reading that, and it is an incredibly long and detailed book about taking care of your feet. He talks a lot about long distance runners, but there's a lot of similarities. That's another book that I would recommend that you get, because you know, an interesting fact about the Appalachian Trail is that you're gonna on a through hike, you're gonna make over 5 million steps, and on every one of those steps your foot's gonna make contact with something. So taking care of your feet is something that is extremely important. And then one final recommendation for this video, and this item of clothing is probably one of the ugliest items of clothing I've ever come across, but it's one that I would not leave home without on any hike that I'm going to have cold temperatures, and that is Goose socks. They are a little bit expensive. I purchased mine from Z-Packs, but they work on those cold nights, and if you have a tendency to get cold feet, put your Tootsies in these Goose socks and they're going to stay toasty warm. Well, Tanya and I are continuing to get ready for our upcoming through hike. It's extremely cold here in North Carolina this weekend. I am really impressed by the folks that are out there on the trail already. We're going to try to wait for it to warm up just a little bit. We hope and pray that this video has been helpful to you, and we are super excited about seeing some of you out there on the trail later this year. God bless.